famous for his theories on Agartha, the subterranean network of inner Earth, which fans of my channel probably know very well by now. In the 19th century, Saint-Yves put forth the claim that not only was the Sphinx built by escapees of the destruction of Atlantis, but that it was constructed around 12,000 BC, many thousands of years prior to the accepted dating in mainstream Egyptology. 50 years after the death of Saint-Yves, the Egyptologist and fellow French occultist R.A. Schwaller furthered this idea by introducing the controversial archaeological theory of water erosion. After living in Egypt for 12 years and carefully investigating the Sphinx, Schwaller concluded that the Sphinx's body had visibly been eroded by floods, which indicated that it was far, far older than the pyramids it neighbored. Schwaller and a growing number of modern Egyptologists argue that because of these visible fissures on the Sphinx's front and inside its enclosure, the accepted age of the Sphinx, and thus our understanding
Far
of the
older.
ancient Egyptian timeline, may be completely wrong. Years later,
It's water
the
erosion.
Egyptologist John Anthony West attributed the Sphinx's erosion to the Nile floods, which occurred between 15,000 and 10,000 BC. West later had his claims validated by the geologist Robert Schoch, who agreed that the Sphinx was indeed constructed around 9,700 BC.
Mm-hmm.
Edgar Cayce never mentioned whether the Atlanteans built the Sphinx themselves or if they simply found it that way.
They
However,
built it.
when one really thinks about it, a highly advanced civilization such as the Atlanteans would surely rely on their own technology to secure their people's legacy, rather than primitive ancient Egyptian methods. Alongside this, many have claimed that it was in fact the Atlanteans who taught the dynastic Egyptians how to construct their pyramids and monoliths. If the Sphinx was constructed during or after some cataclysmic flood, which occurred approximately 12,000 years ago, then Cayce's dates match up. He believed that the Atlanteans were displaced around 10,000 BC and that they fled to Egypt. Egypt, around this time, according to the water erosion theory, was also suffering the after effects of a large deluge or flood. However,
Right, because this was a worldwide cyclical event that is impending to happen again very soon.
because some parts of the Sphinx show no signs of water erosion, we can theorize that the Sphinx was not fully submerged, meaning the Atlanteans could have sought refuge inside its underground complexes and halls,
Like an
which
ark.
scientists have categorically proven to exist. In our modern world, the occult is often mocked and ridiculed, and out of all the esoteric practices, the most denigrated is undoubtedly Cayce's art, clairvoyance. Psychics are regarded by most as frauds, profiting from sly readings, boisterous fortune telling, and falsely communicating with a person's dead relatives.
Unfortunately.
Because Cayce claimed to be a psychic, his prophecies have mostly been disregarded, despite many of them seeming to have been very accurate. According to his biographer, Thomas Segru, there are hundreds of people throughout the United States who will testify at the drop of a hat to his accuracy. And in the book, The Outer Limits of Edgar Cayce's Power, which set out to demonstratively prove his psychic readings incorrect, it was ultimately concluded that a whopping 85% of the time, Cayce was right. This clearly indicates some kind of supernatural foresight, or at the very least, an ability to make astoundingly accurate predictions.
Right. And all psychics are going to not be 100% accurate for the simple reason that everything in life is about odds of probability and fluidity and free will. So we can see it happening one way, and if enough people are focused on that, they can actually change it.
The sleeping prophet's prophecies proving true, however, were a curse for Edgar Cayce, who, later in his life, saw visions warning him that if he used his psychic abilities more than twice a day, it would eventually kill him. Still, the sleeping prophet continued his work in order to help those in need of his unique gift. His request pile was ever growing, and at the age of 67, Casey was performing nearly 8 readings a day. And as he did so, his friends and family watched the man they loved waste away.
Because it was draining his
On
life
the
force
1st of
energy to do
January,
that.
1945, Casey predicted that he would be buried in 4 more days. On January 3rd, he had died. The next day, the sleeping prophet was buried at his birthplace in Kentucky. While in the waking world, Edgar Casey enjoyed gardening and cooking, running his photography studio and leading Sunday school at his church. He was a humble man who never profited financially from his psychic ability, and he remains one of the most convincing and prolific seers in history. So we must truly wonder, will the survivors of Atlantis one day return as Casey predicted? Does the Hall of Records really exist beneath the Sphinx? And how did the golden age of the Atlanteans shape the ancient world, and subsequently the world we live in today? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you
Yes, let me know your feelings in the comments below. I want to know your thoughts on this.
enjoyed this video, definitely check out my investigation of the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, which is said to hold the secrets of alchemy and the Philosopher's Stone. I'm Mr. Mythos. I'll see you there.
Yeah, go check out this dude's work. He is a great researcher and storyteller. And I will talk to you again soon.